Good morning, everyone, and welcome to today's webinar, Dynamic Positioning with Options and Variants in Windchill. My name is Carolina Hägg, and I will be your host for today's event. And presenting today will be Anders Kullenberg, PLM consultant and master architect here at PDS Vision. We will also have a guest appearance from Nils Persson, product manager here at PDS Vision in the end. Now, a short introduction about us at PDS Vision. We're a global software solution provider, and we offer market-leading and cutting-edge solutions that enable our customers to realize their business value within product development, manufacturing, service, and operations. We at PDS Vision are considered a leading and trusted advisor within the product development sectors. And amongst our customers, there's Atlas Copco, Väderstad, Cargotec, and many more. But the bigger question is, why have they chosen to work with us? The short answer is because we care. We care about our customers' challenges and how we can help them on their digitalization journey. And the fact that we also care about being a company that makes a difference. This is PDS Vision. We are sustainable, professional, and we have a passion for what we do. We seek to be sustainable as a partner, employer, and company to work with. We are passionate and professional throughout our value chain. And that is the short answer why customers choose to work with PDS Vision. But now I will hand over to Anders Kullenberg.
So, hello everybody. My name is Anders Kullenberg. As Carolina mentioned, I've been with PDS for some time now and been working with PLM for approximately 20 years. Let me share my screen here. Sorry, there we go. Sorry about the tunnel vision there. So today I'll be talking about dynamic positioning within option and variants in Windchill, a new capability that has come up since 12.0. The agenda, I'll be some background, some short slides, of course, but the majority of the time will be spent in a demonstration. We'll end with some next steps and Q&A as Carolina mentioned. So a little bit about the background, and this is of course related to configurable products, which is often a quite challenging area to take care of, especially when you have high volumes of different variants. How do you keep track of that? Which options are available? How can they be combined? What restrictions apply, etc., etc. Often a quite deep product knowledge is required to take to manage all this. And how do you document this in an efficient manner? How do you reuse documentation that is from the common parts of the product structure, and how do you take care of the different variations within the product structure, and how do you take care of that in downstream processes, etc. This is often perceived as quite cumbersome for sure. And Windchill addresses these issues with what's called option and variants. That's a capability that's been around for some time now, and this takes care of the majority of those problems from a BOM perspective. You can create a configurable product structure. You have some option and variants related to that, and that gives you the ability to generate or filter down specific variants and give you the complete BOM of that. But there has been some major limitations, especially in the area of 3D representations for that. How do you get the fully positioned 3D representations for all of your different variants? And basically, you have been forced to rely on your CAD tool to do that. Either you create your variants manual and store them with positions in Windchill, or you can use a bottom-up approach where you generate your variants in CAD and save them in Windchill to have them available for filtering later on. So that has been a limitation, but now with this new dynamic positioning capability, we can actually use something that is called the positioning architecture within Windchill. And by populating that with information, we can Windchill can resolve the correct positioning of each variant without having to define that in the CAD tool first. So it's something I think is quite it's a big leap forward functionality wise. That's what we're going to talk about today, and I'm going to demonstrate that for you. First, short recap of those for related to option and variants for those of you who hasn't seen that before. There are some concepts that we talk about, and the first one is modules. We refer to these as variant stable modules. You modularize your product, and you have a bunch of different modules that together combine all the different variants for your product. Then you have your overpopulated BOM, or 150% BOM. It's also often referred to, or configurable BOM, which then consists of all these modules, and that will give you, all the different variants you might have for that specific product or product family. On top of that, you have controls, different types of options and choices, sales option, designs options that you combine with rules, etc. And you have these options and choices within an option set that you assign to your configurable BOM. And all that together will give you the possibility to either filter or generate different configurations, or also known as variants. So of a specific variant, depending on which choice you want to look at for the moment. So these are the option and variant concepts that have been available in Windchill for some time now. And then the news then. So what's new here with dynamic positioning? Yeah, we have this so-called positioning architecture that you can define, and that has three main concepts. So we have the configurable modules. So a configurable module is a selection of all the different variant stable modules that you have. And in the positioning architecture, this represents the different, all the different occurrences of those. So you can have, for instance, 4 wheels in a car, and that will then, we will have all these 4 occurrences of that wheel in the positioning architecture. So that's the configurable module. We have an interface, that's the green arrow you can see here between different configurable module. That's the relationship between different configurable modules, how they position related to each other. So a wheel attached to an axle, for instance. And then we have the locators. This is locators are mapped to coordinate systems within the interchangeable modules. And this is then used to calculate the relative positioning of each module, and by that resolve the positioning of everything. And this is done then within Windchill without the need for the CAD tool. So that's real quick, and then I'll skip into the demonstration. I think that's where you will have the biggest value of this, of course. Sorry for the tunnel vision there a little bit. So I'm going to do the majority of this demonstration in Windchill, and then we're also going to jump in a little bit to Creo to show you some stuff. So basically here, I'll move to a relatively simple data set. When I open this, I get a message here. I'll get back to that in a short while. But here we can see on the left a configurable structure. So these different colorful cogwheels represent a configurable part rather than the normal variant stable part we have. So here we have different modules, and beneath those we have the variant stable modules. So we have in this example, for instance, a box with short and long and different colorful boxes here. You can also see the different assigned usage expression, as it's called. So we have the option frame length, and we have different choices here, 900 or 1200 millimeters. This is how you combine the configurable structure with the different choices. I will also show you quickly here that we have an option set related to this product. And in this case, it's a released version that we're looking on. So to show you this, I'll go back to the product structure here again. And if I look at the different state here, we can see here that I have a little bit of invert data here. So to, present and demonstrate this, I'll move into the latest released version of this product structure instead. So again, we have the configurable product structure with the different modules on the left. And looking at the visualization tab here, you can see that the data is kind of in a pile here. It's all on a global 0 rather than positioned correctly. And we can also see that it's overpopulated here. We have 6 wheels instead of 4, and stuff is not looking like we're used to. This is because looking at the configurable portion of the structure here, there are no CAD assemblies at this level. So the positioning is not known. If we go down to the variance table modules, the standard parts here, we can see that here we have CAD assembly. So here the product structure is defined as we are used to. But so this new capability, when I filter down a specific variant, so I'll go through my different options here. I'll want a seat belt, I want a high seat, we'll skip the wheel covers and a handle type, soft handle, and resolve a specific variant. We can see that Windchill resolves the different positioning. The stuff pops up into the correct positioning, and also on the left side we can see, as usually, the BOM is filtered down to a specific variant. And if I want to say, okay, I want the green box instead, and I want the long version of that, again, the system will adjust accordingly. So this is basically the capability. I can look at all the different variants I have for this specific product in the correct positioning, and I'm doing this without using any CAD tool. So even if I'm a viewer within Windchill, I have access to this information. This also gives us the ability to show the product in different states, so to speak. So what we have done here, we have added what we call an orientation option. This is configurable in Windchill, so if you want to call it something else, that's fine too. But in this case, we say, okay, I want to handle in the up position instead. When a kid is dragging this wagon behind them, this is where the handle would be instead. So simple movements like that. If this would be a car, you could open doors and so on and so on. So you can look at the data in different states, so to speak. So this is how it looks. And to show you a little bit more about the background with the positioning architecture and so on, my intention here is to go through a change of this product structure. And that change consists of adding a second chair in this. When we have the long version of this wagon, we think there is a possibility to have a second chair or a second seat in the front here. So that's what I'm going to do. So now I'll go back to system default, and I'll go to the latest version. And a colleague of me has already started working. So we have added, as you can see here, the seat module quantity is now 2 rather than 1 as it was before. And it's my assignment to fix this in the box we have, of course. So I'll go to the green long box. It's only when we have the long box that there is space for a second chair. So I need to add holes for this chair so we can mount it, and of course I need to add the locators and update the positioning architecture for this as well. So I'll go to the CAD assembly. I'll add that to my workspace. Hang on. If I add okay, like that. Then I'll move over to Creo instead. So here I have my assembly. I'll open this in Creo, and as we can see here, this is an assembly, and here I have the box. So I'll go to the box, and this is where I need to now add different holes. So I'll show up some datum planes like that, and I need a new one. And this was release data, so I'll revise and check it out. And I want a mid plane here, so I'll just check that. Okay. Then I want to mirror this holes around mid plane. There we go. Now we have holes here as well for the assembly of the chair. That's good. I'm happy with that. I'm going back to the assembly, and here we can see we have some coordinate systems that are named interface. So I have a seat interface shown here, and of course now for the second seat I need an additional interface. So revise and check out the assembly as well. And I want that coordinate system to be positioned here in that center hole. I want to orient it so the axe pointing upwards. That should be the y-axis. There we go. It's mirrored related to the already existing seat interface. I'm happy with that. I'll call that front seat interface. And I have a quick map key here. Well, I'll show you what that map key does. It's adding a parameter in the coordinate system named locator with a value of yes, and this is configurable. You can set it up how you want to, but this is how you indicate that this coordinate system, when I check this into Windchill, should be available to map to a locator. And I'll show how that looks. So I'm done here. I'll close that in. I'll check this in. Good, and we'll go back to Windchill then. So it's revised, and we have the new iteration checked in. I'll go back to my wagon. So I've updated the long green box in this box module. Now I need to, create the locators as well. So I'll revise this one as well. There we go. And here we can see, so in this configurable module, we have the different interchangeable variant stable modules. And we have the already existing interface. But if I select the green box, the long one, we can see the new interface. So this is the coordinate system that I created. And since I gave it that locator parameter with a yes value, it is exposed as a coordinate system within Windchill, and I can create a locator. So I'll left click, right click, assign to new locator, and I'll just reuse the naming here. It's possible to use other names if you want to, but in this case, I'll just reuse it. And then it pops up here. The other short boxes, they won't have this interface. So in that case, these will be empty, but I've mapped it for the long one. I'll check that in. So we have created that. I'll go back to the complete wagon, and I'll now open this positioning architecture. So it's called Architecture Editor, and here we can see the positioning architecture. So this is how it looks today. So we have all the different modules here on the right, but these are the occurrences. So as you can see here, for instance, the wheel cover, that shows up 4 times. Even if looking at the usage view, it's only one usage with a count of 4. So since we need to position occurrences, you need to be aware that it's the occurrences we see here. So, and since my colleague have already added a second occurrence of the seat, that shows up here. That's not positioned in the architecture yet, and you can see that by this little icon here. And when I hover over it, I can grab it, and then I drag it into the positioning architecture like this. So then I've added the seat, and this I have given this a reference designator. So it's the front seat. As you can see, the rear seat is already positioned. It has the reference designator RS over here. Now, when I hover over that, I get this little, strange, some graphic thingy there. I can drag an arrow like this to the box module, which the seat is going to be positioned against. And then I have the interface, and now I need to specify which locator should I use. So in the seat, the child here, there is only one, that's the box interface. But the parent, which is the box module, you can see the different locators, the 3 we had to begin with. And we here have the front seat interface, which I added. That's the coordinate system I added first, and then I created this locator. So I select that one. And that's it. Now we have added the front seat, created the interface based on these locators. So I'm happy with that. I'll check this in. And now it's checked in. I'll close that and get back to this interface. So as we can see now, we have the 2 different seats here, and now they are positioned a little bit strange. But since we now have different seats, we also need to, of course, have an option to, configure, do I want 1 seat or 2 seats? So, and to do that, we have a option set that is in work where we have added these additional options. So now when I go to the edit filter and filter this, go back to the design options, we can see here it's a new option called seat config. So I want the long one, and there is a rule saying when we have the long one, it will always be green because there are no other colors available. I'll take the high seat, no covers as before, do the soft handle, and here we have, I can select each, it's either rear or front or both. So I'll do both. And here we go. The seat is now added in the correct position. And if I can still work with this, say I don't want the rear, I only want the front, that works as well. So I was able to by just creating the coordinate system, locator, interface in the positioning architecture to get this seat to show up in the position I want without actually having to assemble this in a CAD assembly anywhere. And if I had 10 different variants of the seat, in this case we only have 2. We have the high one, but we also have a low version. I can change to that. And you can see the backrest is a little bit lower, and still the positioning is working out just fine. And if I want only the rear seat, this also works quite well. So this is basically it. And now you might want to think, if you're a designer, well, okay, it's all good. We can create this stuff, but I'm working in CAD on a daily basis, and I still want to be able to open this assembly in the CAD tool. And if I don't have an assembly on this level, how do I do that, and how can I do different analysis and so on? And we have capabilities for that as well, of course. So you do what's called configuration context. I'll do this quite quickly. Time is running, I can see. So we get the structure here based on the filter I have with the different, if I expand this, you can see it's only the long green box and so on. And I have the option to say, well, there are stuff here I don't want to I can filter it even further, but just for this demonstration purposes, I'll keep it like this. And once I have my configuration context, I can create a design context. So I want this in Creo, and I'm using my wagon work seat. Okay. And here we have some capabilities to work with simplified reps and so on. And this is, of course, if you're working with relatively large assemblies and so on, simplified rep is a way to manage performance and so on. But for this simple module, I have no need for that. I'll move back to Creo, to my workspace, and we can see now that here's the design context I just created. And if I open that in Creo, we can see now I have an assembly with all the data I configured, selected, and it's positioned correctly. So I can generate an assembly quite quickly based on this as well. So that was what I wanted to demonstrate for you guys today. If I'll move back to the presentation quickly. So if this is something you're interested in and want to look into, what are the requirements? What's needed for this? And of course, yeah, you need Windchill, and hopefully you have your part management, CAD management, change management, and all those components in place. If not, I would recommend you to start in that area. But if you have that, next step would be to look at option and variants, and then of course you need to modularize your product, define these variant stable modules, I talked about. Look at what option and choices you have and define the different option sets for your different products, and then create your overpopulated BOM. And if you already have that in place, it's to implement the dynamic positioning is then you need to look into where are your interfaces, the mechanical interfaces between the different modules. And here you should try, I think it's a good practice to try to drive commonality within those interfaces, so you can use as many modules as possible with the same interface. Set up some guidelines for the coordinate systems. How should they be positioned in different hole groups and so on, so that is known in your design department. Then you need to create the locators based on those guidelines and define the positioning architecture. On a high level, those are the steps that needs to be put in place to move forward with this implementation, I would say. So that's about what I wanted to show. Now it's Q&A, I would say. I don't know.
Yes, we do have some questions.
You do? Good.
Yes. We'll start with a question here from Javid. Hi, Anders. How does your boom look like?
I'm not sure I quite what you mean, my boom.
I'm not sure either. So we can move on to the next question then. Here is a question from Matthias. Can you vary the position of the second chair relative to a predefined CSYS instead of locking it to the predefined holes?
Yes, you can. I didn't show that, but you can create different coordinate systems, and you can actually assign in the positioning architecture. You can assign expressions to the locators as well. But it has to be a coordinate system, but you can have several, and you can vary which coordinate system to use depending on which choice you have selected, so to speak. So the seat could actually end up in different positions based on choices. I hope that's an answer to the question.
I think so. And we actually had a further explanation to Javid's question. He meant the boom of your configuration.
Well, in this is a very simple example that I showed. So I have the different box frame and so on, and below that there were the different variant stable modules that defined the different variants we had, like the long and short box, and with and without seat belts and so on. So that's how it was defined. I'm not sure that's a really good answer, to be honest, but what we have done with some customers already is actually to take a portion of their product structure and use that to validate that we could resolve their positioning challenges with this technology, and it's been working out pretty well. So if you're interested, please reach out and we can look at your product structure and see what we can do.
And the next question is it allowed to use advanced expressions?
Yes. So you can do the basics or the advanced. It's allowed.
And we have many questions coming in today. Nice.
Good.
Can one create new part variants top down with this tool set?
Yes, I would say so. What you need to do, if you, for instance, if I were to add an additional seat in my demonstration here, I would of course create the seat. I would need to add it to the configurable module of the seat. So there would be an additional seat. Now there was the high and low, and then maybe there would be a luxurious variant or whatever. And then, of course, in that seat, I would need a coordinate system that represents the interface, and I would need to map that coordinate system to the correct locator in the configurable seat. But yes, you can do that top down for sure. I hope that's an answer to the question as well.
And here's another one from Lena. Does it work together with interchange assemblies?
That's a good question. I don't really see the need for the interchange assemblies, not to cover the positioning here. Since all the positioning is resolved in Windchill, not in the CAD tool. But otherwise, I would say yes.
And we only have time for one last question, and it will be, when filtering, you did only address the option filter. How does this functionality work with effectivities regarding to the configuration specification for the part structure and the config spec of the option choices and conditional rules?
Well, that's a detailed question. Yeah. So when you do your filtering, exactly as you mentioned, this was quite basic filtering I did. I did work with the latest release. So I got when I demonstrated it, I showed the latest release version of the product structure. So that's the ordinary config spec is working. There is no difference in the filtering there. When it comes to option and choices, you can work with option and choices in different ways. Not really related to the. It's the same when we work with dynamic positioning. But if you there is something called independently assigned expressions, so you can actually manage your expressions as individual objects, and then they have a life cycle state, and you can actually apply an config spec for your choices as well. And that works just like it does with option and variance. It's not any difference, just because we add dynamic positioning. I hope that's.
I think that answered it.
Yeah, yes. I hope so.
Well, for the rest of the questions, we will come back. Now we will have time for a little guest appearance from Nils Persson. We'll make a little quick.
Thank you, Carolina, and thank you, Anders, for a great presentation and possibility to see all the exciting possibilities that dynamic positioning brings as well. I think configurable products has been a very trending topic among our customer base for the last years, and from what we see in the interest here in the questions tab and also the attendance for this webinar, it seems to not have changed since. And personally, I find the additional dynamic positioning that it will bring a great visibility to option and choices, and will also resolve some use cases that have been very challenging previously. So I think it's simply a great addition by PTC. But since we have your attention on this topic, I just wanted to take the opportunity to also mention that we are currently in a project expanding our own capabilities with our Creo configurator, in which we are connecting this product to Windchill and option and variance, and use it to create an automated workflow that takes your user inputs and uses the configurator to output variant-specific CAD models, 2D drawings, and bill of material reports. This is, at this point, it's very much a work in progress, and it's a site-specific solution. But we are already now looking at how we can bring this functionality into our general product. And we do, of course, look closely at what PTC is doing with Windchill at the moment, and especially what Anders just showed you. But we are also very interested to hear in the use cases that you have out there. What are your company's challenges in this area today? What possibilities do you see with the functionalities that are now emerging? How would you like to work with this tomorrow? And so with this very short message, I would like just to address what Anders already mentioned, that please do reach out to us if you find this area interesting, and if you feel that option and variance and dynamic positioning might not even resolve the full use case, still do reach out. We are very interested to hear what you see on this topic, and to hear how you're working today. So please reach out. Thanks again, Anders, and I'll leave it back to you, Carolina.
Yes, thank you so much for everybody's participation, and thank you, Anders, for a great presentation. And we will see you next time on the next webinar. So thank you, everybody, for participating. Okay.
Thank you.
Bye.